is what's new in SAFe 6.0. As you know, SAFe is evolving. SAFe has been evolving over the years already, and there's lots of different changes based on the feedback from the market, based on the learnings from the field and the community. And now there's a time for the new update. My journey started with the SAFe actually already in 2010 with the SAFe 0.93 when Dean Leffingwell was helping Nokia. I was working at the Nokia back in the times. So he was helping us to make this scaled agile transformation. I also contributed to the SAFe 3.0 with this budgeting model, and that later credited me this SAFe fellow title. I'm also a SAFe SPCT, meaning that I can run the most advanced classes here. So question, why do we need to have a 6.0? Why we need to have a new version? Obviously, again, the pandemic, major transformation ongoing. Now, some other global events are also challenging the companies. Some of the companies are getting new opportunities with the COVID. Some are losing their opportunities with the situation with Russia today. So we need to be ready to change all the time. And that's what we are trying to address here with the 6.0. There's a lot of changes in this, but we can kind of have a narrative about the changes through these 6 themes. And I'm going to go through all of these 6 themes now, but like I said, so there's a tons of other topics as well. There is a new big picture as well. This is visible on the scaleagileframework.com, so please go there and learn about this. Obviously, I can't tell you everything that is changed and going to the details as such. We are going to run this about 30 minutes, 35 minutes perhaps, and then we have stop the recording and have some time for the questions as well. But my hope is that you will recognize something that you would like to learn more. So go to this big picture and click those icons that you would like to learn more. I'm not expecting you to learn everything today from my presentation, but hopefully you will recognize the items that you would like to learn. So let's start with the first one. That's about the strengthening of foundation and strengthening that in the favor of the business agility. Now, in this picture, you can see that which is the particular domains that we are talking using this big picture. So we're talking about the foundation and we're talking about the business agility. None of the value streams are typically fixed for the long time. As an organization who wants to be agile, who wants to be ready for the future, you need to be ready for the changes. And that means for the value streams as well, whether it's an operational value stream or whether it's a development value stream. I'm actually expecting that you know the SAFe. So this is not a SAFe class. It's just kind of an upgrade, what is new in the 6.0. So I'm going to elaborate the basics here too much. Now, when we do recognize that there's changes needed, and now we want to recognize it could be a business-driven change. So it could be that you want to capture some new business opportunity, or there's some reasons to change. And that means that you need to have a way to organize yourself in order to capture that opportunity. It could be that it is nothing new. You have the operations already. You have the operational value stream. You have a development value stream supporting that. It could be just a change in the content as such, but it could be that you need to reorganize yourself in order to capture that opportunity. Just to give you an example about these changes. So 3 years ago, when the COVID hit, obviously our training business, which was heavily training business, which was heavily on the classroom, face-to-face training, we needed to change that completely. And we did that really quickly. So we moved all the exercises and all the tools to the online training. And we were pretty well able to continue the training as such. Obviously, we lost some of the business, not being able to run these transformation gigs in the face-to-face with the clients. So that was just a kind of practical example what we needed to do. So this business agility value stream has been there earlier as a guidance article, but now it's been elevated and the top of the picture to represent the fact that that's exactly what we need to be able to do. We need to be able to capture the business opportunities. Going to the foundation and foundation layer here. So the first improvement is this continuous learning culture. The continuous learning culture is one of those 7 core competencies. And now we just again would like to highlight its role as kind of essential part of the transformation itself. It doesn't matter which of the configuration of the SAFe you are applying, whether it's a full, whether it's a portfolio level, whether it's a solution level, or just the essential. Nonetheless, you always need to establish this continuous learning culture. And obviously it includes this relentless, you remember from the core competence article, relentless improvement, innovative culture, innovation culture, as well as the learning organization. So that's what you want to do. And this continuous learning culture will enable your company to kind of match whatever future will bring to your direction. Second foundation improvement is this lean thinking. You remember there used to be a house of lean. Now that's gone, but we would like to highlight these 5 lean principles and on part of the lean thinking itself. And obviously this highlights much more the flow nature of the model and flow as a way to run and manage your organization and improve your organization. Agile values in the Agile manifesto, that's still the same. We will come back to this flow because the flow is one of the major theme in the transformation of this 6.0 in altogether. So we will come back to that one. There's an update in the core values as well. You remember that the alignment and transparency are exactly the same as they used to be. Then the built-in quality, it is still part of the model, but it's not here. It's heavily on the team level, as well as then the program execution. So that's one of the art, accountability and responsibility. We'll come back to that one as well. But from the House of Lean, we have, or they have now elevated this respect for the people and relentless improvement, obviously significant importance for the any transformation as such. Small update to the principle number 6. You remember that it used to talk about the visualization. It talked about the queue, batch size and the WIP limit. Now it's been just kind of make it more broad and more kind of comprehensive to respect the value in altogether. And we will come back to that. There's a kind of a, like I said, it's heavily focused. So it's not limited to those mentioned old items only, but much more broader definition. There's a changes in the implementation roadmap as well. So the starting point used to say that, okay, ad hoc or waterfall, okay, it could be some other, so we don't want to limit ourselves. There's an executive workshop brought in to that go safe phase. There's this leading in digital age, that's a specific leadership program enabling leaders to take a kind of a mindset change. Then organizing around value, it used to be called identify art and value streams. Now it's kind of reflective better to that principle number 10, which is also called organize around value. And then we have a workshop related to that identification brought here. So minor changes here. Number 6, enhance to the portfolio, used to be extend to the portfolio, but that indicated a bit too much that you start somewhere else and then you add the portfolio later. Obviously, that's not always the case. You can start from the portfolio level. And then just highlighting the number 7, accelerate the value stream. Accelerate. Again, it's part of this continuous learning culture. It is highlighting, and there's a new guidance article explaining better that how you actually do that as part of this model. Part of the foundation is also the role of the SPCs as a change agent. They used to be called a SAFe program consultant. So that's one of the changes. So the term program will be removed across the whole model, and all the terminology will be getting rid of that program. So we call them SAFe practice consultants. Another change here is that the roles, I'll talk about the roles a bit later, but we have these responsibility wheels. So on the right-hand side, you can see the responsibility wheel for this particular role, SPC. Obviously, they should be the ones who know how to behave, what this lean agile mindset is all together. So be an expert on that one and help everybody to understand. They should be the ones who are leading the change and driving the kind of what should be done, when should be done, implementing transformation itself, what would be the tactical phasing, what workshops to use, what trainings to use in which particular phase. Obviously, again, it's a flow-based system. We heavily focus on the flow, and the SPCs would need to understand the lean and the flow and how to accelerate the flow in the whole organization. And then the SPC's role is to maintain that focus on the business problems. And that's again about the accelerating the business agility as such. We are not doing this for the sake of the IT or R&D as such. It's about the business eventually. So that covered the first one. Second theme is about empowering teams and clarifying responsibilities. So making everything much more clear is obviously important. It could be that you have in the transformation, you have old roles. We want to change something, so how do we communicate the change needed? And these responsibility wheels are very critical, and one good way to articulate, okay, what would this particular role to do? Obviously, these are not positions, as you know, but the roles. And although it could look that there's quite a few of those, but you know your complex organizations, typically this is what you need. You just need to kind of this way of describing and illustrating the responsibilities very good, help you to run the transformation. We can take an example. Now we can use a responsibility wheel for the artifacts as well. So here's an example for the art. So obviously it's not the role as such, it's an artifact, it's a construct, the team of teams. Okay, what this team of teams would need to do? Obviously they are delivering the product and services, so they should be very closely linked to the customer, either through the product owner or other means that you really understand what the customer is wanting. They should be optimizing what you are going to do on the next increment. So that's a period of time that you are maximizing the value, i.e. planning the work. And like it used to be, the program execution used to be one of the one of the 4 values. Now it's here focusing. The art is the one who should be delivering the value. Obviously, really important, getting the feedback and relentlessly improve. Let's take another example of this responsibility wheel. Scrum Master / team coach. So you obviously know that there's a name change here. Just respecting the fact that not all the teams are running with the Scrum. So we still believe that there should be somebody coaching and helping teams or teams to improve their ways of working. And you can see that if you take a look at this responsibility wheel, it's not actually that much about the individual team, but about how the team operates in the larger context. So the team coach / Scrum Master obviously should be part of the PI planning and facilitating the single team, but also collaborating with other Scrum Masters, team coaches in order to optimize the plan itself. Obviously, they are supporting iteration execution, improving flow, again, trying to highlight the transformational role of this team coach, that they would actually try to improve the operation of the team, i.e. removing impediments, removing waste, removing delays, that the team can deliver value better. Building high-performing teams. So what is the team structure? What competencies are needed? How the team will develop the competencies needed? Is there any conflicts? How to resolve those conflicts? That's, of course, a role of the Scrum Master / team coach. And that will continue as on the team of team level as well. So it's not limited me and my team only, but they do have a role in the art level as well. On top of these responsibility wheels, there's another way to articulate the role, and that's these collaborations. So this kind of illustration and a visualization how each of the role actually do need to collaborate, and that's a kind of a no-brainer, but it's a updated material and updated article how the collaboration should be happening. Take a looking example of the product management. Obviously, the product management should be linked and collaborating with the business owners, with the customers, and the solution management should there be one. They should be collaborated with the system architects, and RTEs in order to run the train smoothly and optimize the value, and obviously with the product owners on the team level to evolve the solution. So that was the team, and now moving the accelerating value flow. And again, you can see that the flow is being represented and repeated in quite a few places. First, we would like to highlight the 8 properties of the flow-based system. So you remember the principle number 6 earlier talked about just a few of these, but now we respect that there's actually much more of these, and obviously these are important to understand. So once you understand the value stream, you need to understand what is the work in process, how much task you can actually take at the same time, should there be a limit. Number 2 is about the bottlenecks. You need to understand the bottlenecks that you are having. It can be information, it can be a decision making, it can be a technical competence, it can be system, it can be anything. So the characterization and nature of the bottleneck and where they are. And you remember that the getting rid of the implications of the bottleneck, there's a couple of ways. Of course, you can increase the capacity on the bottleneck. That's quite expensive, especially if it's kind of a deep knowledge needed. How about just making the batch size smaller? And that's typically the best way to get rid of the impact of the bottleneck. Number 3, handoffs and the delays related to that one. Feedback number 4, batch size, queues, and then a couple of extra on the worker and the policies. And obviously we need to respect those one as well. And this will give us a nice tool set to accelerate. So we want to accelerate the flow of value, obviously. And now with these 8 properties, we can also turn these into the 8 different tools or concepts that help you to identify what would you need to do. So please do check these from the big picture. Now we do recognize at the same time that the solution could be slightly different in each and every level. So if we take any working smaller batches on the team level, it means slightly different on the team level that it means on the portfolio level. And these different articles now articulate that difference. So please take a look at those and recognize the differences. So yes, we would like to improve the flow in all of the levels, but it takes a bit different approach. Then we have a Safe Team Kanban and Safe Scrum. There's some terminology change here, but mainly there's a kind of a upgraded guidance article helping you to better articulate what does it mean, what would you need to do. Same with the Kanban, how can you use the Kanban? Again, it is a nothing changed as such, just a better article, updated article to helping you to increase the flow, for instance, through these different classes of service, or respecting and understanding how do you structure the Kanbans across the whole organization rather than on team level only. The quality, of course, is important in order to improve the flow. If you are always either don't know how long something takes, i.e. you might have a bad asset quality, or then you need to do the rework all the time, so not the best part. Again, we do respect that the quality might mean a slightly different topic in each and every different domain. So we do respect that there's basic agile quality practices, like a shift learning left, pairing, peer review, and so forth. So that's applies to everywhere. But then now, depending on the domain where you are, for instance, if you are on the HR, you might be limited by some HR definitions, rules, and regulations. Whether it's about if you are working on the medical, so the medical quality, medical equipment, you might have a different quality definitions compared to the bank. So the bank might be interested about the risk position much more than the medical itself. On the IT, again, you might have a cybersecurity related quality metrics. So just kind of respecting that, and all of those are needed to understand in order to improve the flow. Now, the value stream management, it has been there for a while, but again, it has been a separate article, and now it's been elevated to the portfolio level as a specific topic and related guidance. It basically helps you to understand how you can apply those 5 lean principles. So how do you establish and how do you manage that? Second is that it is placed on the portfolio level. Not to mean that it would be important elsewhere, but to highlight the responsibility of the portfolio level, of the portfolio management in this getting the flow up and running. You remember that if you've been on the LPM, Lean Portfolio Management class, or consider the portfolio, who is running that, who is facilitating? Again, it's now better articulated that should be something called a value management office. You might have a PMO, Agile PMO, and now it's much better articulated that yes, there should be a group of people, dedicated resources, facilitating the portfolio level work. So they actually saying facilitating the portfolio sync, facilitating the lean budgeting and governance, as well as then learning what the value means, what is the value, and how do you improve the flow of the value. So that's important. So that concludes the theme, that particular theme. Then moving to the next one. So now we talk about the business and how to engage the business better. You remember that we always have talked with the same, we don't want the business to throw some requirements over the fence to the IT and then IT will just execute. We always talk that yes, we need to merge them together. And obviously there's a lots of going on globally, and now it's been here better articulated. And intent here is that to give you some tools to engage the business better. So a couple of ways we have here now articulated what the construct could be. So we have this business enabled art, basically saying that, yes, we want to have the team of teams, but we want to make sure that there are experts and kind of a decision making from the business to make sure that we are doing exactly the right thing. And obviously you can take it further. You can have agile business train, where you have a full operational value stream, meaning all the people on that, all the information, all the materials, as well as then the development value stream. So let's put that together, so team of teams. You can have an agile executive team. You remember that we want to address those business opportunities. So you want to use the agile methods for the executive team as well. So that's one. You can have an agile HR, you can have an agile finance, you can have strategy as an agile, and sourcing as such. So how those individual functions would operate using a SAFe. So that's what we would like to achieve here. And obviously, if you want to take this kind of a business and IT R&D combination to the next level, then we have this combined portfolio. So please take a look at those. Again, some field examples. So take a look at how you can use SAFe in the risk management, how you can use SAFe in the finance, so the finance processes and functions itself, or on the large insurance company. Then you remember that SAFe is a kind of umbrella of good practices. We want to respect everything which is important and bring them and align them that it is a same transformation, same governance model. And obviously we have AI, big data, and the cloud, which are kind of quite dominant and important. We need to respect and find a way how everything comes together. Obviously, AI is important for quite a few levels. So you can find that in a spanning palette. Spanning palette is the location for everything which can be applied across. Big data quite often requires some alignment, how to do that, what are the databases, where do you collect the data, and use of the big data also is perhaps easy on the portfolio level. So making business decision, and clouds are typically enabled and enabling the faster development and faster build up, and thus related on the delivery mechanisms with the DevOps. So just quickly kind of addressing the possible benefits here. Obviously, AI can increase your competitive advantage. So what would be the intelligence solutions that you are building your customers, i.e., so that would be then kind of a part of the EPIC definition, feature definition, and you would need to have a competency capability to address that opportunity. AI can be also used for improve the operational and development value stream capability, and of course, bring some insight about your customers. Big data. There's a kind of a data ops as a lifecycle process that helps you again understand how you can utilize the big data, how you can immerse the big data into this whole governance model, management model we call SAVE. And then finally, cloud. So obviously, you can test your strategies much easier when you can establish a development pipeline using this cloud-enabled technologies. It will change your infrastructure and operations. It will ease up the DevOps and obviously enable the AI as part. The last of these 6 themes is then delivering the better outcomes with the metrics and OKRs. Quite a few companies are nowadays using OKRs. Quite often they are a bit isolated, separated from the content management. You remember my background on the finance. I don't want to have 2 different management systems. One is the budgeting and one is the content management. We established the backlog management, a very strict way to manage the content, manage what we want to work. Same applies here. We don't want to have an alternative separate management system. Please follow the OKRs, but by the way, you need to follow these epics as well. That's not what we want. Thus, we need to make sure that these are properly aligned. Small change here with the metrics. It's called now measure and grow. We still have exactly the same outcomes, flows, and competency as a domain for the metrics. Really good material there. And then these 3 different examples how we can kind of get the alignment with the OKRs and the content management. Obviously, one is to get the alignment across the organization, so you can use the OKRs as part of the strategic themes. So these objectives will form these strategic themes, and then you are using the strategic themes and objectives to define what would be the value streams, or what would be the objectives of these value streams, as well as these arts as well. One way is you can use these OKRs to identify which are the epics that you need, but also to use those inside an epic to clarify that what is the business outcome that you are trying to achieve. So what is the business problem? What is the business outcome? And that will help you to identify the leading indicators as well. And obviously, the third one is that you can have this transformation itself being followed and measured with an OKR. So what is the objectives for why we are doing this transformation? And then you can break it down. Just to kind of have my personal opinion about these, don't cascade too much. So if you're kind of saying that you do this, then you might have a split responsibility, a split accountability. And again, thus you are creating silos. We want to remove the silos. That's an important part. So much rather have a common objectives, common key results, and shared accountability. So that's pretty much conclude the kind of a key part of these 6 themes, one way to narrate the changes here. Obviously, we are running these trainings, and we are now using the 6.0 for the trainings as well. We have this implementing SAFE coming in April 17th. We have a portfolio management coming in twice, both in Sweden face-to-face and Helsinki face-to-face on May 9th. We have a leading SAFE with the 6.0 coming on May 23rd, and then SAFE Scrum Master on June 13th. So please join us. Quite often, the transformation does require some momentum, and thus you need to have a private class. So public class enables a couple of the individuals to get the exposure that what this is, but eventually all of your companies would need to have a much more people trained, and obviously then we are happy to run a private. So please join us and contact us in the courses at needlearner.com. So just kind of finalizing with a couple of key takeaways I think are important here. Obviously, now the 6.0 gives you much more tools for the flow, managing the flow, identifying the flow, as well as accelerating the flow. And the other one, now there's a much better tools for engaging the business into this way of working. But with this, I would like to thank you for the attention.